So food production, by my estimates, would plummet as much as 80% in the United States within 12 months after the Green New Deal goes into effect. If you ban combustion engines, you cause a near total collapse of food production in America. Even worse, you can't even import food from China or South America. A lot of food comes from South America, especially during the winter months in America. Well, how does that get here? By expending fossil fuels for diesel trucks or ships to bring that food to us. But according to Ocasio Cortez, you can't use combustion engines. Would she also ban food imports that rely on the use of fossil fuels to power those ships and trucks and planes? Or is Ocasio Cortez's idea that only America would ban combustion engines, but all the other countries in the world can continue to use them? Because trust me, they would.
InfoWars, tomorrow's news today.
All right, welcome back. Mike Adams stepping in here as the guest host for the rest of this hour here on the Alex Jones Show. I've got a detailed analysis to go over with you today about the Green New Deal and how it would lead to a catastrophic food collapse across America, mass starvation, Venezuela-style mass starvation, with accompanying economic collapse, the outbreaks of infectious disease, civil unrest, total chaos, total collapse across America. So this is the result that would happen if they ban fossil fuels and ban the combustion engine. And to understand this is very simple. We can start with understanding how fossil fuels are used in food production. So this story is up on Infowars.com. Now, there's a detailed infographic that's part of this story. I encourage you to check out the infographic. Feel free to share it. But let's start with some basics. You know, green energy, solar and wind power, is effective at powering things that are connected to the grid, hardwired to the grid. So you can augment the power grid with green energy if you're powering homes or businesses, because homes and businesses stand still, right? They don't run around the farm field. They don't roll down the highway, except if you're moving a mobile home or something. But almost all homes and businesses and commercial buildings are, of course, standing still. So the grid is easy to connect to them, and it's easy to feed that grid with green energy. But for mobile equipment, which is what's used in agriculture, tractors, harvesters, combines, big rigs that deliver fuel, food processing equipment that's mobile, all these things cannot be powered by solar or wind for the simple reason that batteries don't have the energy density that's necessary to power these devices. We did some interesting math on this. You'll love this comparison. 100 horsepower tractor, just take a 100 horsepower tractor, which is not even that powerful of a tractor. It's kind of a mid-sized tractor. You would have to power that tractor with a solar panel, you would have to attach to the top of that tractor 5,000 square feet of solar panels. 5,000 square feet. We did the math on that. It's based on an average of 15 watts per square foot of solar, solar PV panels. So if you do that, if you do the math, then it's 70 feet by 70 feet square. And that's how big of a massive solar array you would have to put on top of a tractor in order to power that tractor with the same energy as a 100 horsepower diesel engine. Now, of course, if you're a farmer, if you know anything about agriculture, you know you can't drive around with a tractor with a 70-foot wide and a 70-foot long solar panel attached to the top of it. Why? Well, for one reason, it would tip over. And for a second reason, you go on the slightest incline and it would also tip over, or from the wind, and you couldn't even get close to any tree or any obstacle that is, because you couldn't get within 35 or 40 feet of any obstacle because you have this 70-foot wide solar panel. But even worse, the panel couldn't really be tilted at the right angle, so you could only farm in the summer, not the spring and not really the fall, and you couldn't really farm in northern latitudes because you don't have much sunlight, and you can't run your tractor after dark. Now, think about this. See, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez speaks in fairy tales and delusions and crazy, dreams and leprechauns and unicorns. I'm talking to you in reality here. I'm a food scientist. I run a food science lab. We can do the math on this. So I went to it's called the US Energy Information Administration, and we looked up the fossil fuel use in agriculture. Turns out that there are 500 trillion BTUs of energy expended to grow food crops, not even counting livestock, just the food crops every year in America. And those are numbers from, I think, 2012, so it's much larger now. 500 trillion BTUs. That comes from fossil fuels because you obviously you have to have all that equipment. You have to have the transportation equipment. You have to have, the tractors and everything else I mentioned. Livestock production requires another 300 trillion BTUs of fossil fuel energy. Now, most of it is fossil fuels. A small part of that is electricity, but almost all of it is fossil fuels because fossil fuels, again, power things that are not connected to the grid. Now, how are you going to replace that with green energy? Because Ocasio-Cortez wants to say that no more fossil fuels in 10 years. And by the way, that means no more combustion engines. So here's a question for sensible people. How are you going to sail ships that carry containers across the ocean without combustion engines and ship fuel? Does she want us to go back to wooden ships with sails? Is the Green New Deal really basically, should we just call it the 1700s again? Let's relive the 1700s because that's what she wants, wooden ships with sails. But, it's insane. You don't even have commercial jets under this scenario either. So how are you going to fly food? Seafood that's flown in, how are you going to fly that? How are you going to produce any food at all without combustion engines? And the answer is you can't. No ships, no planes, no tractors, no long-haul rigs on the highways. I know they're experimenting with some battery-powered trucks, but their range is almost nothing. And they're not in mass production, not even close. And you can never have enough battery energy density in tractors and agricultural equipment because the energy density is just not there unless you have a quantum leap in battery technology. You can't do that. So food production, by my estimates, would plummet as much as 80% in the United States within 12 months after the Green New Deal goes into effect. If you ban combustion engines, you cause a near total collapse of food production in America. Even worse, you can't even import food from China or South America. A lot of food comes from South America, especially during the winter months in America. Well, how does that get here? By expending fossil fuels for diesel trucks or ships to bring that food to us. But according to Ocasio-Cortez, you can't use combustion engines. Would she also ban food imports that rely on the use of fossil fuels to power those ships and trucks and planes? Or is Ocasio-Cortez's idea that only America would ban combustion engines, but all the other countries in the world can continue to use them? Because trust me, they would. China is not stupid enough to ban combustion engines. Russia is not stupid enough to ban combustion engines. And by the way, does Ocasio-Cortez's ban, does it also include the military? Would she say that the military will not be allowed to operate tanks, planes, transport trucks, armored personnel carriers, logistics deliveries, all fuel depots should be shut down? Is this her plan? Because it's a plan of lunacy. These are idiotic, moronic ideas from the radical left. They are beyond stupid. They show a level of economic illiteracy that is astonishing. It is stunning. And it really underscores the need for basic IQ testing for members of Congress. If you don't IQ test these people from now on, how do you make sure you don't get another Ocasio-Cortez in the mix? She wants to destroy America. She's got a plan to do it. And other Democrats have signed on to that plan. They are a death cult. And they will not stop until they absolutely gut this country and bring down an apocalyptic collapse upon us.
At InfoWars, we're always looking for the very best-selling, highest-rated products that we can then private label and sell. Well, there is a national company who has FDA approval to sell their wound gel that is the strongest out there, and we private label it, and we sell it for $10 less online and they sell it at CVS and Walgreens. We also have another product also produced by the same company, Immune Gargle. We've been selling a lot of the wound gel and a lot of the Immune Gargle. We're going to go from full price to 40% off on both of these best-selling products right now at InfoWarsLife.com and InfoWarsStore.com. This is a limited time Immune Boost special. Get Super Blue, Silver Immune Gargle, and Super Silver Wound Dressing for 40% off at InfoWarsStore.com. Again, this is a limited time Immune Boost special. Get Super Blue, Silver Immune Gargle, and Super Silver Wound Dressing for 40% off at InfoWarsStore.com.